Country Roads Diner. Joining me on the phone is Rod Bruno from the band Trailerhawk. Hey there.
Hey, Gemini, how are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
I am fantastic, thanks. I have coffee and it's extraordinarily sunny here on the West Coast, so it's just all great.
Oh, see, I'm not used to coffee. I say coffee with a W in there. Coffee.
Coffee.
I know I said it to you. Yeah, I know I said it to you before, but thank you very much for taking the time to join me.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
And along with my listeners, I'm going to learn more about you because I've only played. I don't want to say only, because I only got the song I think 2 weeks ago, but I played it the last 2 weeks, the last two shows, and I'm referring to your song "Car." But before I even start talking about that or asking you questions, please let everybody know who Trailerhawk is.
Trailerhawk is, well, it's a group of us that all had, reasonably successful careers in the past, and we sort of got together one night to kick around, some old country classics for fun, drink some beer, and then before you knew it, we started writing songs, and then we did shows, and, we stapled a name to it that we thought was hilarious, and we made some inroads with some old friends. Colin Linden of Nashville fame, he's one of the main guys on the Nashville series, and he decided he wanted to get on board and cut an EP with us, so we did that with him. He produced it, and that's what we're at. We got a 5-song EP out called Half Up Front, and thanks to people like you, we're starting to get a little bit of traction across the radio world.
I definitely, and I said it to you before. I Google everybody. I always Google people.
I Google myself.
I'm not that brave. I have not Googled myself. I'm afraid to see what's written about me.
Yeah, likewise. It's not pretty.
But besides the song "Cars," you also have, now I just lost it. There we go. Don't You? And I was talking about the amazing voice that sings that song. The female. Would you care to tell everybody about? Well, actually, you know what? Why don't you tell everybody about the members of the band?
Well, that's probably a good place to start. So, in Canada, there was a very famous band called Sons of Freedom, and they were real famous here, and specifically for having one of the most powerful rhythm sections in the land. It's even on record. It sort of, influenced the whole Seattle movement in its time. So that's Don Short and Don Binns, and they're on bass and drums, respectively. And then Lanny Hussey from a band in Canada called Ginger, who plays pedal steel and guitars. Myself, and then I have the distinct pleasure of being married to the beautiful gal that sings and fronts the band. So, I'm just riding her coattails. And that's where we're at.
And sometimes some people call it a CD, some people call it an EP. So which is it that's out right now? Is it an EP that you guys have?
It's an EP, and we thought we were pretty clever, and there's a second half to this. The EP that's out now, which is called Half Up Front, we exclusively released in digital format, so like iTunes, Spotify, all the usual suspects. Then we're going in the very near future here, and we're doing the second half of this, and we're going to call it Paid in Full. And then we're going to put the whole thing together, and we're really clever. And then we're going to release it on vinyl as an entire body of work. So, at least 10 songs. And there's some debate, and maybe your listeners can weigh on it. It's interesting because we sort of toyed with, did we do the CD thing? Is that even a thing anymore? Do we do 8-track tapes? I don't know. It's really hard to tell how people like it, but more and more come up.
I vote for bringing back the 8-track.
I'm with you, because then you're committed to those little blocks of time where you can't fast forward or rewind, so you have to listen to like a parcel of song. So I'm on side with that.
Well, see, I actually had this discussion with one of the artists maybe about a month ago, and I said to her, I love CDs, and I love receiving CDs from artists because I can pop it in my truck and listen to it as I drive. You know, and there's occasionally where I'll drive down, I'll take trips down to either Delaware or Virginia, and I'll just listen to the entire CD, let it start over again. I love that. You know, where instead of
exactly like you.
I've got to download it, and then I got to remember to put it on, you know, the flash drive, and then I've got to remember to bring that with me and hopefully not lose it.
I am totally on side with you. I'm a big fan of the tangible thing where you can feel it, touch it, see it, and you're in control of it. You know, you can put it on a bookshelf or in your car. I'm a fan of that. So this is new for all of us in this band because we've always had, you know, physical product.
Right.
So we thought this time, well, we'll do the first parcel, the EP in digital formation, and once the second half's done, then, you know, vinyl has made an incredible comeback, and the more we go around, the more people, you know, are always asking, like, is it on vinyl? Is it on vinyl? And the CD thing comes up more frequently than I had anticipated. So we're going to do that in the next couple of months. We're going to have physical product for those that want it that way, and for everybody else, so you can you know, dial it into their streaming devices or whatever the kids are doing these days. I have no idea.
When did this EP come out?
It came out August 22nd, so just
okay.
a couple of months.
All right.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Still
all
got
right.
that new car smell.
See, digitally, that doesn't have a smell.
No, that's true. So the smell it has is the environment you're in.
All right, let me ask you some of these questions that came in from my listeners. I will warn you, some may, and I'm going to say may because some people fooled me and didn't need thinking time, but some may require thinking.
Okay. Oh, God.
Notice I did not warn you before I hit that record button about the thinking part.
Perfect.
What would you say is the most amazing experience you've had so far?
With the band, I hope.
Yes.
You know, it's a family radio station.
Yes, please.
I think the most amazing thing is, you know, with Colin Linden producing, and this is a guilty pleasure, and I'll admit it, you know, my wife and I were big fans of the series Nashville. And of course, you know, all of her friends and that were crazy about, you know, Charles Esten, who plays Deacon Claiborne.
Mm-hmm.
And then the weirdest thing happened because we did this recording, and he's really good friends with our producer. They work on the series together. So Charles Esten was really gracious and very adamant about putting a vocal track down. So he actually sings on one of the songs on the Half Up Front EP called Church of Jim Beam. So that was pretty mind-blowing because one minute, you know, you're a fan of the show and you're like, oh, we should be playing music. And then, you know, the guys that did the show are on the record. So I would say so far, that's been one of the crazier things that's happened.
Oh, that would be. You know, I don't, and I know it's different for guys and gals, but I probably would just sit there going, yeah, that's
there was a bit of that. It was like, yeah, when we heard it, we were like, well, that's crazy, you know. Sure, why not? So we can figure out the next one. We'll just ask Bob Dylan, and he'll show up. I don't know.
Perfect.
Why not? Why not?
You may have to give Bob Dylan really an advance warning for when you want him.
Yes, he's often in slippers, so, you know, there's that whole thing, and, you know, give people enough time to change their footwear.
Exactly. Who would you say influenced you musically?
For me personally, Hank Williams Sr., early 70s Keith Richards, Boy, Ernest Tubb. It's just a lot. Even Django Reinhardt, which I share that with the great Willie Nelson. I just love him as a guitar player. And then, just so many of the great session guys out of Nashville that are just sort of unsung heroes that are incredible players. So I can even speak for Carmen on this. She grew up in an environment, with a dad that played in a country western band. So it was all that old school country, the troubadour stuff, John Cash and Merle Haggard and all that great stuff. That seems to have vanished from radio. It's a bit concerning to me at times,
I agree, yes.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite place to travel to?
Well, for me, and maybe appreciate this. I've always think it's the heartbeat of the globe, and it's just that's where everything's happening. On every possible level. I've spent some time in Nashville. I love Nashville, and the same goes for Memphis and Austin. They're just really great cities, really vibrant. Really, really great for, great artistic communities and music communities. And, those off the top of my head are a few of my most favorite places.
Okay. We spoke about your EP, and I should have asked this question then. About how long did it take you guys to create the latest EP? CD, whichever it is that you want to call it.
Yes, the ones and zeros. We went old school with this, and we made a very conscious decision when we were looking at producers and we were looking at recording this, that we wanted to do it without studio speak, what they call a quick track. It sets time, so we didn't want that, and we wanted to record this live off the floor in real time. So that's how we did it, and from beginning to end, we were in and out of the studio in 3 days.
Wow!
So everything you hear on that record is off the floor. Save for a little bit of dust that was put on in the mixes in Nashville, 98% of that is straight off the floor. Just the way they used to do it.
Right.
And it went to tape. Like we just went old school. We weren't going to get into this, whole slick production thing and perfecting every note and every bar and. Our opinion of that is it sucks the soul out of the music, and we all sort of have this love affair with how, the earlier country outlaw records are made and the early Rolling Stones records. They were all just sort of made in these weird rooms in real time, and that's our love. And, we always run into people, fellow bands that go, I want to make Exile on Main Street. I want to make, this, that, or another great record, but then they spend 6 months, using technology to, sort of suck the soul out of it. And then they wonder why it doesn't sound like,
right.
they had anticipated. So that was our approach. It was really quick. And I don't see us changing that anytime soon.
Repeat that last thing?
I say I don't see us changing that philosophy anytime soon.
Okay.
Yeah. We're just sort of really good in the moment.
Who would you like to do a duet with? If you could pick anyone out there.
Dead or alive?
Alive.
Alive. Wow. That's a great question. Man, because my wife's voice is just so great, I would love to hear her do something with Chris Stapleton. I think would be really great.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. Yes, that would.
Yeah, Charles Esten's already off the list, so, I would personally love to hear her do something with Chris Stapleton. I think that would be pretty special. So, Chris, if you're listening, give us a ring.
Well, now, if you could bring somebody back from the dead to perform with, who would you pick?
It's easy. Hank Williams Sr., without question.
Excellent.
In a heartbeat.
See, I told you. You didn't even need to think hard on those questions.
Thank God for that.
Those were the thinking questions right there. Do you or anybody in the band, do you wear anything for good luck?
Not that I'm aware of. I tend to wear my guitar for good luck, and it's kind of helpful in, bringing the whole thing to life. Shoes or slippers.
I'm thinking you may look a little silly up there, standing with the guitar strap with no guitar, considering that you need to be playing it.
I'm not going to say it's never happened. But yeah, that's my good luck charm, my guitar.
Okay.
That's an interesting question. I should investigate that, see if anybody in the band has any sort of weirdness going on that I'm not aware of.
How do you guys prepare yourself before a show? Do you have a certain routine that you do?
We sort of we usually go out and after sound check and have dinner together and make our way back to the venue, and we just sort of sit quietly and talk about subjects totally unrelated to music or what's about to unfold. We find ourselves talking about ridiculous old television series and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty mundane. I'd love to tell you we drank a quart of whiskey and all that stuff, but that's how I end up standing there without a guitar.
Now it's all making sense. Let's see, like the gentleman I spoke to on last week's show from one of the bands, he said that they all get together before, they'll make the motion for like a drink, and they'll go and have one shot together. And then I know there are some that I've spoken to that, they drink hot tea, or they don't talk for like a half hour before, this way they save their voice. So I'm always curious. When that question came in, I was like, oh, I'm definitely asking that one, because I'm curious. I'm nosy.
I think it's a great question. I'm not going to say that we don't have, a drink or two. We've been known to do that. But yeah, I think because all of us have been doing this for so long that we have, collectively tens of thousands of live shows behind us. So we've sort of settled into this kind of Zen state, where it's like, what's a good restaurant nearby? And then, there might be a drink or two. And that carries on to the stage. There's usually a drink or two during the set.
Okay.
Got to keep hydrated.
Of course. And I'm sure you'll have listeners that buy you guys around also.
We strongly encourage that.
Do you?
Yes. We'll play for liquor.
Where do you get your inspirations for your songs?
That's a good question. We all write. It's a collective thing, and it I think it usually sort of filters out of, one person's gray matter as a germ, and then it sort of takes on a mood and a direction that sometimes, takes us off guard. And we've been really fortunate with this band that, writing is not a problem. In fact, we are almost too productive. Like, every time we get in a room together, which is, a couple of times a week, we usually end up walking out with 2 or 3 really solid ideas for songs. So I think it comes collectively, and I don't want to get all weird and philosophical, but it's to sort of steal from Keith Richards, it's sort of like we're this collective radio antenna, and we're just sort of receiving this information and spitting it out as songs. It's really great fun, and we that's one of the things I think we all enjoy most about this, and what has made it a really fun band to play in is just the ideas just keep coming, and it takes us off guard almost every time. And living,
And what?
Living, it tends to influence, I think, some of the content of the songs, your usual things, life and love on the run, you know. I don't know. My wife does most of the lyric writing, and you know, she's pretty esoteric with it. I think there's a whole side to her that I'm afraid to even ask about. So, you know, yeah.
All I've got to say is the next time I get to talk to you guys and do an interview, I want to talk to her. Because I want her version of all.
You know what? That I encourage that because I need to hear this. Because sometimes these lyrics, I'm like, oh wow, am I going to get like killed in my sleep or something? You know, so I mean, sometimes it's really dark. You know, I don't know. It could become a Dateline NBC situation. I don't know. Stay tuned.
What can a fan expect to see at one of your shows? Obviously, besides, you know, all of you on stage, what can they expect to see?
Well, a really good, hard-hitting, you know, rock and country show. You know, we really don't pull any punches. We don't hold back. I think what you hear on the record is what you're going to see at a live show, you know, plus a lot of volume. It is what it is. It's sort of, you know, hard-hitting, heavy-sweating, you know, booze-fueled, you know, fried rock and roll, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
We certainly aren't standing around.
That was my question also. Is it highly energized? Are you guys laid back? But I'm guessing you're not laid back because you're not just standing around.
No, it's pretty energized. I mean, you know, like we're not Mick Jagger, but you know, it's pretty energized, and the music, you know, with playing live, there's certainly you know a give and go on the energy between the crowds and the stage. So it becomes an orb of pulsing energy when we play live. It's a total give and go. You know, it's one of those hard things to describe, but we're definitely not laid back. You know, that's not something I would qualify us as.
Now, do you do cover songs during your shows?
Not as a rule. When we started it, that's sort of what we were doing, just getting together and playing some old favorites. When we had our record release show last month, we did close the night with Whiskey Bent by Hank Jr. And you know, so once in a while we'll throw one or some type of song like that in that we love, you know. But like I say, we've got so much material now that, you know, it's hard to fit in, you know, a tip of the hat these days. But if there's a time and a place, or you know, if the crowd's looking like they want something, we'll throw something in there. We got no shortage of songs by other great folks that we can pull off if need. And that ties in again that we will play for liquor. You know, if you have a request, bring liquor. You never know.
All right, I told you that I had my own personal question that I like to ask. So here's my question: you're up on that stage, and I know you're not, you know, you're not the lead singer, but
no, thank God.
As long as you have your guitar, I think this would work for you also. Do you ever forget the lines to the song, the words, or even the music? Let's say you're playing the guitar, and all of a sudden, I refer to it as a brain fart when I'm on air. But do you ever have one of those moments where you're like, oh, what chord comes next? Or does Carmen say, you know, oh, shoot, what was I supposed to sing?
More often than I care to admit. And it's a weird thing, you know, you play these things, you write them, you rehearse it, and you get caught in the moment. And it's exactly like you say. It's like, oh, crap, is that going to a G here? Is there a bridge? And you're just blank. And for me, I just have to shut my brain down, which is not that difficult, and let muscle memory take over. And fortunately, that saves my backside more often than not. But yeah, it happens a lot. And as a footnote, sometimes, when people ply us with liquor, to play, that contributes to, forgetting where a bridge in a song is,
Well, see, that's, it kind of goes with it. They're going to ask, you're going to ask them to buy you a shot.
Well, the deal is if the audience is lubricated as us, then, who cares about a mistake?
But now, wait a minute.
Nobody notices it.
What do you do in that situation? Do you guys repeat, like, the verse that you just did before? Do you come up with new lyrics? Or for you, do you come up with a new, new sequence?
I turn around. I've been doing this my whole career. I will turn around, and I'm giving away my whole shtick, but I turn around and go over and kick my amp like it was a mechanical malfunction. I will even be animated and make some really angry hand gestures, and then, carry on from there. With Carmen, I don't know. She's really dialed in lyrically, so yeah, she probably just spits out a whole verse that's great. I don't know.
I thought when you said you turn around, I thought you were going to say you turn around to one of your band members and blame them.
Or that. That's been known to happen, too. Because as we all know, and the musicians listening will understand, it's always the drummer's fault.
Oh, is that how it is? Period. Okay.
Anybody but me.
Of course. I'm going to ask you one more question. Let's go back to the EP. How did you put the title for it?
Well, it became this really sort of in the moment piece of hilarity that we thought we were very clever with this concept because, we were going to do half a record, which an EP technically is. It's half a record.
Right. Okay.
So, in financial speak, when you make a deal, you pay somebody half up front. When it's complete, you're paid in full. So that's why we're going to call the second half of this paid in full. And we're going to
I'm a little slow. It just dawned on me now.
We're just so clever, you see? It's a very deep concept. It's like country Pink Floyd, but not at all. But yeah, it's just that simple. It's just we just decided we were going to do half this body of work and finance it. And, when the other half is done and everybody goes out and plugs their credit card in and buys it, you're paid in full.
Right. I love that.
You will not receive any further billing or invoicing.
You know what I forgot to ask you? To mention at the beginning was drop your social media links. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Oh, for sure. On Facebook, we're simply Trailerhawk, and the same with Instagram, Twitter. It's just Trailerhawk, and our website is www.trailerhawk.com, and all the social media links are right at the top of the page. And I think there's even a YouTube link, or you can just do a search for Trailerhawk Official in YouTube, and that'll bring you to our videos. And, yeah, we're out there. We don't really know what we're doing with social media. I don't know.
Don't worry, neither do I.
If it's a thing anymore. But, yeah, we're on the book faces and all those things.
I've said it before. I love websites that have everything right up there. It's nice and clear that you don't have to scroll through. And like you said, your links to your social media is right at the top. You've got Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram, all right there. Love that. You got the logos. As far as not knowing, don't feel that.
Something right.
I was told, you got to be on Twitter. I don't know what I'm doing on Twitter, but I'm on Twitter.
Neither do we. Yeah, so are we, but I don't know what's happening there. Probably crickets. I think people are more interested in political fights unfolding on Twitter than country music. But I could be wrong. It's there, so we tweet when necessary. So I encourage everybody to come on the old Twitter box and, tailgate or whatever people do on Twitter. I have no idea.
And you know what? If you are listening to this interview, I'm speaking to my listeners. If you're listening to this interview, go on over, find Trailerhawk, and tell them, "Hey, dude, I'm listening to your interview right now." And then let them know what station you're hearing it on.
Yes, for the love of God, please do that, and we will start a fire on Twitter. We will tweet back. We will follow you. I don't know what the rules of Twitter are, but we'll do it all.
Excellent.
I leave that to Carmen. She's
it always scared me when I tell people, "Come follow me on Twitter." I'm like, in a non-stalkerish way, follow me. Because something that's telling, across the airwaves, follow me.
Yeah, it's
like an invitation, right? To stalk.
Yeah, it is. It's a bit alarming. I don't know. I have a Twitter account, like a personal one, and I have no idea what you use it for. Like I jokingly, I was like, "Hey, I'm having coffee right now. Hey, I'm going to have a shower." I don't know, like what pertinent information am I able to share with anybody? Like nothing.
These days, I think you can share just about anything and everything, which is even more scarier.
I think you're right. I think that's what puts me off of the whole thing. Is there's just a lot of information about people that I don't know very well, that I don't require. And I think I've seen every person in the world's cat and baby 8,000 times. So that's my experience with social media.
I want to thank you again for taking the time to join me. This has been fun. I've enjoyed getting to know the band. I would love to follow up this interview with one of your songs. So, which one should I play?
Well, that's a good question, because I'm part.
Thank you. Occasionally, I come up with one or two of them.
Well, I guess the correct thing to say is Car, because Car has officially gone to U.S. radio, and it's with the kindness of you and folks like you, we're starting to get some traction, and that's sort of our official single that's gone to radio. Although that being said, Don't You? We released exclusively as a single on social media, and it's got, I don't know, many thousands of views. So I don't know. How about Car? Let's go with Car.
Are you done discussing it with yourself?
That's exactly what I was doing. See, I have a lot of issues, and this interview could go on for a lot longer. I know. This is what I do.
See, but you know what? Being a Gemini, I totally understood that, because I do that all the time.
I was going to go totally left of center.
I figured I would just sit back.
You don't even have.
I would just sit back and wait for you to finish discussing it with yourself.
And I appreciate that a great deal. I have to work through these things. I'm so glad we had this therapy session together.
I'll send you my bill.
Yeah, exactly. Half up front, paid in full. Yeah, no, we really appreciate let's spin up Car, and hopefully the folks listening dig it. And my God, thank you so very much for having us and for supporting us, and what a great fun time this has been.
I'm not letting you go yet, because what I'm going to do is talk it back to you, and you are going to introduce your song for us.
Sounds good to me. This is Rod Bruno from Trailerhawk, and this is Car.
Waking up in the back of your car, waking up to the tires roaring, waking up to the wind whipping by and the windows down and the wheels are rolling on. your car, waking up to the sirens roaring, waking up to the wind whipping by, windows down, cherries rolling on.